things online. I'm not yet sure is this online, but we have to check. We have to check and see, because who knows? Who knows in this world anything? Especially when the Article 13 has came around. Indeed so. Again, another one of these streams, but I think this is going to be something that is going to be impactful. Something that people are going to very much enjoy. Not sure about that it's not really connected to my music creation, but overall to everything that's happening. Yes, let's not give too much out. Yet I'm going to be doing some beginning things here. We have one. We were in YouTube land. Oh, that's lovely. Still going to though do some things here and there. So basically what we are going to do today is very simple. I am very much worried about the whole state of Europe and the Article 13 as, yes, it has passed. It's kind of like old news about Article 13 and the copyright initiative which has passed, but it's still something that has a long impact. And I think it's something that people have been talking about, having rapping and doing this sort of stuff to say, hey, it's bad and it's very nasty. But the thing is, we have not looked that far to see what it actually will do for us creatives and you listeners, because it's going to have a big effect. How much content are you consuming right now which has copyrighted characters and some perhaps YouTubers who use them? Quite a lot, I must believe. So yeah, it's going to change the whole landscape, and that's what we're going to talk about here today at Lucan. And I'm a small fish in a small pond, but still I think I have some nice looks on the Article 13 and how it's going, because I have been following it even before it was publicly paraded everywhere, and rightfully so. But it still has a lot more to do than just perhaps blocking content. Very much so. So join me today here as we are streaming right now. Let me see the Twitch side of things. We have one. We were in Twitch even. That's lovely. That's lovely. And it's who is that? I think I saw them. Yeah, Hawk is hosting me. Hello, Hawk. Thank you very much for the host. I appreciate it. I am not seeing comments right now, sorry about that if somebody's commenting. I'm going to do that, usually my comment system is visible for me in front of me all the time, but I'm going to do this small portion where I do this kind of back and forth, and once that is over, we're going to go into the questions and answers section at the end when you and your comments will be read, and we're going to have a kind of end discussion on all that is said. I've sometimes tried to do videos when everybody just could comment at any point of time, but it has kind of interrupted how it goes, and usually afterwards, if somebody is watching it, also ruins the experience for those people. So that's why we're going to be short, go directly at it. We're going to have around 10 minutes of portion when I discuss about it, when we look at things that are happening, and then go to the end section. So that is how the video is going to be structured. But before that though, I'm going to be looking at every side of things here in oh yes, so we are going to be doing some sharing thing here. I think I could share in Twitch because that's the kind of like the streaming place. We have 2 viewers in Twitch. Oh lovely, welcome aboard fellow musicians, lovely to have you here. Yes, indeed. I hope your day is going well, but mine is going absolutely well, because it's a day I'm going to do this stream. I've wanted to do a take on this for a long while, but I wanted things to kind of like calm down, because there's a lot of noise about it. At least there was when it was approved, and rightfully so. But still, what is going to actually happen? That is the question I think people are interested about, but is not answered. So that's what we're going to do. The dark ages are upon us. Still one sharing here on the Twitter. Here we go. So people will find out that I'm doing something. Yay! And here we go as well here. Alright, I think we are ready on the section. So now we can go to the bashing side. Alright. Hello there, my name is Elias Lyukänen, aka Lyukänen, and I'm a composer from Finland. The dark ages are upon us. The copyright directive, the Article 13, has passed in EU, and it's been some while now. But the effect it's going to have is going to take a long time until it shows its ugly face to us. The thing is, the Article 13, if you are out of the loop, basically it's a copyright directive that happened in a area of EU. Basically, EU Parliament agreed to take it and make it as a law. And it is a very, very nasty law in a sense that it is going to change the internet as we know it. And not only in areas of EU. No, it's going to change it everywhere. Up to this point, internet has been this wild west of connectivity. All people around the world could potentially message from a place to another. Of course, there have been restrictions, and there still are. If you try to go to China and try to access internet without having a VPN, then you have some bad luck, because in that country especially, the connection for things have been blocked. And it's intentional by the state there, and it's called a firewall of China. I think if you want to hear more about that, you should go and search that out, because that's a very fascinating thing. It has been the first places where the internet has been restricted the most, and it is quite effective. But we are going to talk about the global thing, which is Article 13, and how it's going to affect even people at the USA, I tell you. And it's not good. Basically, why it was put together was very basically because of the music industry overall is not very happy how the internet works. Basically, all corporations are not that happy to see their IP, their intellectual properties, their characters, their things that they have legal ownerships to. People posting to YouTube. The companies do not like when, let's say, a YouTuber posts a video about their, let's say, a theory about some game. Flow of information is worth money. And the more you can control the information that is spread, the more you can affect the incentives and how people view you as a company. And that will give you sales, potentially. This is at least how corporate people see it. And these corporate people are from the age when the internet was not a thing. Imagine that was a thing back in the day, but I can remember that being. But imagine those people coming before the time of the internet and when it was broadly used, coming nowadays being the CEOs and directors and such. They look at the internet and they do not perhaps understand it. At least looking at the people who voted the directive, there was not that much information with people who made the choice, because it was heavily lobbied by music industry, which wants to control where and how things work. And this is very sad, because initially, if you look what internet has done for content, for games, for things that are talked about, let's say like movies as example, it has made so that people could, of course, say criticisms and such, but people who have following, people who make very talented and content that takes time to create, those people can actually sway people to watch certain films, watch certain things, play certain games, and etc. So these people might have influence over people that might have never actually listened to a song, watched a thing, played anything. And this is, I think, by far the biggest thing, the biggest potentiality that these big corporate people are missing from the internetscape. Of course, some people are going to make these half-baked games that have Disney characters in them and they are not licensed. And perhaps some are going to do songs that have certain melodies and words and anything like that. And they are going to sell them as their own. But those people who are going to do that are going to have, they are not still making something that those corporations are doing. It's still a very small bite if you compare it to, let's say, the ones that are actually putting in the effort, let's say making reviews and such. And for the longest of time, the YouTube system, even before the Article 13, the whole internet and how it's been built, it's starting to be against what it once was when people could do free flow of information. Of course, anyone with their right mind don't want to go back in time because, of course, technology has gone forward. We have now much better quality YouTubers and people who make these kinds of reviews and content. And, I don't want to get back to 2008 when people just did webcam stuff and with very low quality. But looking at this like this, back at that time, the internetscape was very much global. Even at that time, the Great Firewall of China was not yet established in its fullest. So people could potentially globally do communication. But now, as we go forward and forward, this sort of islands start to form in the sea of internet. First, it began with China, and potentially next one will be Europe, having its own digital economy, digital market, as they call it in the Article 13, which is very terrifying if you think about what is going to happen with the content and the information we are going to be shared upon. Because it's not only about, of course, music industry making perhaps a little more pennies and having bots and all people just guarding their property all around. But the bigger effect, which I think people fail to see in the grand scheme of things, is that the more we go forward with this sort of blocking and having things to be blocked from certain countries, the more separate we are going to become, in a sense that if you look at it's very similar, like if you look at the Earth and its geography. At one point, all the islands, all the landmass were as this big Pangaea, back in the day when the plateaus on the surface of the Earth have over millions of years thousands of years have changed their positions. And it's kind of what is happening with internet right now. The once global internet space, of course, it has grown with user base, but it's now getting more divided, and potentially the content you and I are enjoying right now is we are never going to see that. I have to tell you that even though I am not big fan of sometimes when YouTube and its copyright ID bots do the job for me to select what I have to consume, they have sometimes went right and given me a lot of creators and YouTube personalities which I would have never encountered myself if I would not have had the system recommend those things for me. I'm not sure about you, but some people who have been subscribing for me, they have said that YouTube has recommended themselves for the content I've done. So YouTube has done some good with its system, whether we like some of the things it does which are bad, whether we like it or not. But the more forward we go, basically what is going to be the effect of the Article 13, they're still kind of trying to form it and make it as a system, but basically what it's going to be is that any site that is on the internet has to have some, which is like I think there was some kind of like a limit of users, but I think like over 10,000 people I'm not sure about the details, but basically the bigger your site is, you have to have this kind of automated system to try to understand what content is copyrighted and what not, and that copyrighted content has to be removed. And it's not only about blatant clips and uploading them and seeing what it does. It starts to become more than in YouTube, even without the Article 13, and it hasn't even actually went to effect, but still the copyright system we have already is failing. There have been these very discussions in music channels lately, which have tried to do music reviews, and they are big channels. There was this video. I don't remember the creator, but basically there was this channel that made reviews about pop music and made a review about Mist in the Water. What kind of like the guitar rim where. Oh, Mist in the Water, I think that's the name. Basically, he hummed it, and the copyright system went after him and deleted all. Blacklisted his video. The video was demonetized and that sort of thing. So these bots are really becoming good. The better the technology goes forward, the more they can control. And it is very much a worrisome thing. Are we as content creators who are not basically like we are just making, like I do, some remixes and try to honor the songs that are done? Are we going to be on the chopping line? And I think that is what is going to happen for many of us. The future is very grim indeed, and not only for the fact that the content we consume and the information we consume are going to vanish, but for the fact that the success internet has shown us, having people from, let's say, Argentina to see what a guy from Europe does, or let's say from South African guy sees what American guy does. Like, this sort of thing has enabled huge progress, the biggest progress we have actually seen in, let's say, technology, art, and how we consume things, for everything. People can even work through internet nowadays. They don't even need to see each other face to face. They are working through the internet. And imagine, slowly but surely, these kind of steps being taken in other countries as well, because usually when a legislation is taken into effect and other countries see it as successful, it's going to be implemented in more places. The reason why China's system, having the Great Firewall of China, had not been implemented yet, for many reasons, but basically the Chinese project and what they're doing with information flow, it was seen as something that is going to damage the public discourse and such and such and such, because it's basically, when you go down to it, it's censorship. There are many things that they censor in China which are pretty ridiculous. Do you know that Winnie the Pooh, the character from Disney's, the Winnie the Pooh, everybody kind of knows Winnie the Pooh. It's banned in China. You can't really say Winnie the Pooh for the reason that, you post a picture or anything like that, due to the fact that it was somehow related to the president of the current China, basically Xi Jinping. And if you look at if you have followed games like Kingdom Hearts, there were these trailers where it showed the Winnie the Pooh, and it was in Chinese version, it was totally just diminished, taken out. But imagine having this kind of thing happen in Europe, in America, and other places, and I fear that this is going to take into bigger and larger effect, especially when now it's law. And while I'm not very big fan of some laws that are made, but basically laws that are put together, they are the ways that effects are going to happen, how the law is going to be made into effect. That is going to have an effect here in EU. And I live in Finland, which is part of EU, so this is very worrisome for me personally, but even for American audiences perhaps who watch this video, it is going to be very dangerous times we're going to live it. Yeah. Dark times ahead. So that's about it. I think we can get the comment section on if there were some good comments on the back. I'm not really sure. This is kind of like a mysterious thing for me even. But yes, I think it went rather nicely. I think it did. Oh boy. Let's open the comment section and see what kind of things we had people to say. Perhaps not that many, but still. Manon Segur, hi! And Hawk86. I have seen it in the first hand. YouTuber remixes I follow had to entire channels demonetized. Oh, really? God damn. That is very nasty. Very, very nasty. Or let me actually put the thing that you can see it. Yeah. But it has, yeah, the YouTube thing. Imagine, it is not yet a law to do this sort of thing. It has been here for quite a long while, and the reason why we have this copyright thing in the first place was a big lawsuit back in the day when YouTube was forming to become what it is, and the whole thing is that that system was made because of that, because of course companies, if they make lawsuits, YouTube loses a lot of money, so they made some kind of system that appeases for organizations. But imagine it being in every single site you use that has even a decent amount of following. Like even Discord, perhaps it's going to have that because it is having many users within itself. So it is very terrifying to see how it goes. But yes, I hope it's not going to become an effect. I hope it's not going to become a reality here in the EU. I hope, because it's, of course, in EU, if you have a law that is set out to be made, countries can decide do they implement them or not. That's how basically it works. And it's not the best system, but it's still a system that perhaps Finland can push back if the leaders of the country who make the legislation are wise enough. Who knows? But this is still a very dangerous precedent to be put together. Indeed so, indeed so. Like, just... But it's interesting kind of development to see, as I mentioned, that at one point internet was this combined place, but now it's spreading apart. Are we in 50 years, if we're still alive at that point, are we going to have a situation when the whole internet is so much separated that that we have like islands of internets all over the place? And we don't have one internet. I think that is where we are going to in the end, and that saddens me, because the potential of internet, what it has added and what it has done is huge. It is huge. So seeing it gone, seeing it go away, seeing creators that can actually do remixes, can do stuff, very much saddens me fully. Like, yeah, not good. The problem with me doing some remakes might be that I might actually have to get rid of them when the whole legislation comes into effect. It's that bad. And I hope I don't need to go that far into that whole rabbit hole of just, thinking about all the time when I do the right copyright thing or not. And yeah, it's going to be sad, because I like doing this remake stuff, I do. But I can also see that perhaps if every, like, I'm not saying this to be a positive thing, because I wouldn't really want to have Article 13 to happen, but imagine having a system where you can really put any copyrighted stuff out there. Perhaps it helps original stuff to rise above, who knows, or not. Then it's just corporations and corporations. Who bloody knows? Who knows? Nobody knows. That's the thing. The implementation has not yet been taken. But yeah, that's what about it. I think it was a very nice stream overall. It was a stream that came out of nowhere, I must admit, and I'm not going to be doing it too long, I tell you. But I hope you found some interesting takes on the copyright thing overall. Let's continue discussion in the Discord and in the comments as well. I would really want to hear your thoughts on the copyright matter overall, because it's going to affect you. It's going to make a big effect, whether you like it or not. And we can only stand aside and watch. Yeah. Anyhow, wherever you are, I wish you a good day. See you later.